being said, let's move on to debate question number 2. And debate question number 2 is, what was the best Keanu Reeves action film of the 90s? Was it Speed or The Matrix? Kay, you had Frank, you had the coin toss from the last round, which means Kay, you will get the coin toss for this round. Heads will be Speed, tails will be The Matrix. So what are you arguing for? Kay, you are, I dropped it. It was heads. Kay, you are arguing for Speed. Frank, you are arguing for The Matrix. So Kay, you had the coin toss, which means Frank, ladies and gentlemen, I apologize so wholeheartedly right now. This streaming software is great when it works, and when it doesn't, it is frustrating. So, Frank, your window has been resized, you are reframed perfectly, and now it looks like your video has been frozen. Frank, are you there? Oh,
I'm here.
Okay.
I see you guys perfectly,
So
nice and smooth, and I can see every pore.
Fantastic. So your
video's
video's frozen, but we can still hear you.
Yeah.
Frank, we are going to go ahead, full steam ahead. You are arguing for The Matrix. Tell me why The Matrix is a better Keanu Reeves 90s action film. Go.
Well, first of all, can you see me right now?
We can.
Good, because what you're looking at is not real. What you're looking at is a series of ones and zeros reconfigured into this flat surface. It is not reality. The news you get every day is not reality. The entertainment that you consume, even that based on real life, is not real life. It is curtailed and curated and created so that you move through this world and buy the things they want you to buy. And The Matrix introduced that idea to so many that what you are perceiving could very well be The Matrix. There's a reason why the cultural shorthand of things not seeming to be what they seem is called The Matrix. We might be in The Matrix. It's not called Dark City, even though that movie came out first. Why? Because The Matrix was such a strong movie with special effects so far ahead of its time. More than Jurassic Park even, which just won the last round, let me remind you. The Matrix changed cinema, but more importantly, it changed the world and how we look at the world and what we believe the world to be.
Wow, Kay, The Matrix changed the world, what we believe the world to be. It challenged what our thoughts and our perceptions are, and, special effects that were so far ahead of its time. What are your opening arguments for Speed?
These are all valid. Who didn't watch The Matrix and then go in the kitchen and stare at a spoon, right? But there are so many things that are so classic film and amazing, just real Hollywood cinema about speed. For instance, Sandra Bullock, when she was working on this film, actually learned how to drive a bus, and she actually had to pass the test on how to drive a bus. She passed on her first go. Another part is when Keanu Reeves breaks the glass door. That was completely an accident, but it was so genuine and so good they left it in the film. And it's those kinds of moments that make films have such good sticking power to us as an audience, as an entertaining film.
Frank, staying power, preparation for the film, as well as, happy accidents that have made memorable moments throughout film and film history. How do you combat that?
Yeah. Staying power is an important concept. The staying power of movies, sure. The staying power of actors, so what they can bring you afterwards, the amazing things they can bring you after, is very important to cinema too. Speed is a movie where a vehicle drives over 80 miles an hour and never goes back to 1955. They just go in a straight line. The Matrix put Keanu Reeves on the map. It wasn't Point Break. It wasn't Much Ado About Nothing. It was The Matrix. And because of The Matrix, we've got the John Wick movies. We've got so many amazing memes online of the kind Keanu Reeves giving up his seat on the subway. Keanu is a household name because of The Matrix. Bill and Ted was great. Alex Winters is amazing, and I want to buy them all the beers in the world. But what really put Keanu out there is The The Matrix.
Okay.
I'm back, if not for the staying power of Keanu Reeves.
For those of you who didn't hear the last part of what Frank said, he said if it wasn't for The Matrix, Bill and Ted would not exist, essentially.
The new one.
The new one, yeah. Bill and Ted Face the Music. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry, rather, Kay, excuse me. Kay, you know, Keanu Reeves goes from being a working actor to being a movie star almost overnight with The Matrix. What does that mean to you, and how does speed fit into this equation?
I think speed fits into the equation that I don't know that Keanu Reeves has ever set out to be an actor. I think he set out to do what he loved and make money from it. So whether or not like Bill and Ted Face the Music, where neither of them probably cash much of a paycheck, it's all passion projects. It's all things he wants to do for the sake of doing it. So I don't know that there should be that much hoopla tied up into the Matrix of making him a star or anything, because before that, he was happy with what he was doing. He was acting, he was cashing a paycheck, and he was enjoying himself. I would also say that speed might be more important because it gave us that iconic duo of Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves that we've seen repeatedly in other films because they play off each other so well and so casually. I would also argue that his part in Much Ado About Nothing had a lot more stinking power and iconic moments than we're giving it credit for. So maybe even if this isn't the biggest, highest grossing film he's ever been in, maybe that's not exactly where he shines. Maybe he shines his best in films that he is enjoying and wants to do for passion, for the drive of acting.
Frank, closing arguments.
But you're absolutely right. The ability to do the passion project, though, that he loves, the ability to infuse this love into all of these projects and take on the lower budget shoot 'em up films comes from the success that he has from The Matrix. It makes him that name. It makes people take the risk on a movie like John Wick, which was amazing, and on paper doesn't look like something that would sell. But because of who he is, because of the amount of focus on him in the media about how well people know him, because of The Matrix, he was allowed that breathing, allowed that creative ability to give us so much, so much. And Keanu is directly connected to The Matrix forevermore. He is Neo. He is the one. He's my one.
He is Neo. He is the one. He is your one. Kay, closing arguments.
Sorry, I froze there for a second.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's all good.
Closing arguments, Kay. What is it about that? What is it about Speed that makes it the superior 90s action quintessential Keanu Reeves film?
I think because it's probably easier to identify with, because who's ever been on a bus and hasn't had a moment of like, okay, what if? As opposed to The Matrix, where, you know, it's not likely we're going to be dodging bullets and flying helicopters and learning jujitsu overnight. Those kinds of things are fantasy and fun, but I think this has a more realistic storyline to it, the one that we can identify with, that, you know, maybe this could possibly happen. Maybe as far-fetched as it might seem, it is more based in reality. So that's why I would argue this is the more superior action film of the 90s.
All right. Frank, what's up?
It's 2020. Reality means nothing anymore.
It's 2020. Reality means nothing more in the world. What a more perfect sentiment than that. These were two fantastically well-crafted arguments. I agree with both of them for the most part. Kate, where you lost me, Frank, you just won the point. Kate, where you lost me was in the middle and towards the end. Specifically where you were talking about the relatability. I know you use different words, but essentially you're talking about the relatability of being on a bus and more of the while yes, we can relate more to being on a bus, there's something more memorable, I think, about the performances that Frank brought out, that he mentioned about The Matrix, and the strength of his argument in how, yes, Keanu Reeves, but also the supporting cast as well, it was all of that kind of went on. If it wasn't for The Matrix, there would be so many films that would never have been made otherwise. For all those reasons, Frank, I give you the second point.
Oh my God, Kay, you just had to argue for speed. You're a damn rock star.
Thank you.
Wow.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching. If you like this video, click like. If you really like this video, click subscribe. And if you really, really like this video, click share. Because that is exactly what this dinosaur would want you to do. Roar, roar, roar!